Hello, and welcome to this episode of Catching the Octopus podcast. Now, today, what I wanted to talk with you about was manifestation and looking at the traditional ways people say to manifest, but also some of the ways you can really get that manifestation to come into your life. Now, manifestation really just means making real. Right. So we have all these ideas and concepts of things that we'd like to have in our life that we talk about manifesting. But what we want to do is actually make them come to life, make them real, and bring them into our reality. Now, when I was a young girl, I remember every shooting star, every birthday cake, blowout candle wish, I would wish for a fur coat. And I would wish for this fur coat over and over and over again. And I think it was about 8 or 9, maybe. And I went to do my wish when I blew out the candles on my birthday cake and realized I had a fur coat. And that fur coat had been gifted to me as a hand me down from someone. I'm not even quite sure now where it actually came from. But in my mind, when I was thinking about manifesting it, my initial thought was that it would be purchased for me, that I'd go out with my mum or my dad or someone that I knew, and we would go and buy this fur coat. So when it came into my life, I didn't actually register it was there until I went to ask for it again. And I'm like, hang on, I've got that. That is in my life. And that is sometimes where we make the mistake when we're manifesting is we set things up to have to fit into a box. When really how we get what we're manifesting is to be in flow, to be in that space where we're following our excitement into different places and following that guidance that we have to get it. I heard another example here, bear with me, is there's a house that you really, really want. It's your dream house. It's on the top of a hill. It's got these beautiful gardens, all the rooms that you want. And you've been looking at it and manifesting it. And you've got it on vision boards and you're writing down your affirmations. And you're doing all the things that come along with how to manifest. But what you're looking at then is your bank account and you're saying, hey, I'm never going to have the money to be able to get this dream home. I've got bills coming in that is taking the money out. And we can tend to then get fixated on having to work harder and having to work more. And for a lot of people, unfortunately, going to work isn't following their level of excitement, right? It's following that need of what we have to do to be able to survive. It's more of a survival aspect or a survival task. Now, if you were able to go into a space where you followed that level of excitement and you stopped focusing on having to have the money to attain that part of whatever you're trying to manifest, it will come at you. It'll come at you in a lot of different ways. And so in this example, they were saying that the person then was following their level of excitement and had some friends invite them out for lunch, went out for lunch with their friends instead of going, oh, I can't afford that because I need the money for my dream house. They followed the level of excitement, invested in that lunch. And while they were sitting there, they heard some people talking behind them about having to do some travel and needing to get someone to house sit their house. And just by chance, one of the people at the table were like, oh, don't mean to overhear, but I know some house sitters, where is your house located? We might be able to help you. And they said it's the house on the hill. I said, oh, we're going away for 5 years for an overseas secondment and we need someone to come in and just look after the place and make sure it's okay. And someone at the table then goes, the house on the hill, the big one with the beautiful gardens and all the rooms. And they're like, yeah. And in their mind, it's like, that's my dream home. Now, it wasn't the money in the account that led them to that. And, maybe they had to pay a small fee to be able to go in there and house sit. In an ideal world or a lovely world, maybe they got paid to go into their dream house and house sit. And so the universe wants to give you everything. It is abundant. It's always giving you all the things that you need, but sometimes we're looking for it in the wrong places or we're creating boxes where it has to fit in instead of being really open-minded. If you're trying to manifest $1 million in your bank account, I was going to say thousand, but let's go million. If you're trying to manifest $1 million in your bank account, and I said to you, okay, what's a realistic time frame for that to happen? If you put on a graph and you put, okay, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, having you think of it now, do you think getting $1 million in your bank account is realistic within a week, within a month, within a year? Within 5 years, most will be saying maybe. Within 15 years, usually most people will go, yeah, that's the most realistic one. But again, that's sticking to the box of going, well, it has to come in a particular way. There's nothing stopping you from being in that sort of finding your excitement and being in that zone and being in that flow and saving someone from a car accident or a flooding or something like that, that could be a multi-billionaire that just gifts you $1,000 as a reward. That could happen in a week. You could win it on the lotto. That could happen in a week. There could be someone that you've helped years ago that you've totally forgotten about that passes away, that had a heap of money that no one told you, and it may become an inheritance for you of some kind. That could happen in a week. And so the reason why we don't think it's possible in a week is because we're fitting it into this box of how we perceive reality to be. And so if there's something that you're looking to manifest, definitely write down. Okay, so writing down takes it from the thought and the emotion and those energies and actually puts it into a physical. So writing down is great. Setting up a vision board, putting up something, pictures somewhere that you can actually see them all the time to reinforce that that is normal for you. You can do things like sitting in meditation, visualizing yourself actually being in the space of whatever you're trying to manifest, whether that be travel or whether that be a relationship that you're looking to try and acquest, whether that be the perfect job that you're looking for or completing your university studies, whatever it is, sitting in it. And when you're visualizing it, don't visualize how you got there. Just visualize the experience of having whatever you're trying to manifest, sitting in that and actually feeling the feelings that come with that. What are the thoughts that you're going to be thinking when that is happening? What is the environment going to be feeling like? Is there going to be heat on your skin? Are you going to feel the warmth? Are you going to sit in that and visualize the warmth on your skin, the breeze on your face? Are you going to be visualizing the touch, physical touch of someone just stroking your hair? Whatever comes as part of that whole experience is what you want to be experiencing in a visualization as well, right? Because that's what's going to draw you towards that in an energy space. So all things are energy. Our bodies are energy. We're vibrating. Everything in us is vibrating. A table is vibrating, just really a lot slower. If you look on a microscope and you go really, really down, you'll see that all the particles are actually vibrating. So everything gives off a particular frequency. So what I'm trying to explain here is if the frequency of what you want is here, but your frequency is down here, you're always going to be just wanting it. And what you want to do is raise frequency to actually be able to meet that so that it actually comes into your physical reality. And by doing those things like vision boards and putting up the pictures, it's making those things so familiar that you're actually starting to vibrate at the space where it's okay to have that. By writing things down, it's again bringing that into the physical reality, that physical vibration, instead of just being a wish, a dream, and a hope. And then sitting there and actually feeling it in a visualization is then raising your vibration to match. Now, sometimes, and you would have already heard the saying, I'm sure, be careful what you wish for. Sometimes we don't also think about the things in our life that will need to change to get us to the vibration where we need to be able to meet those manifestations, those things that we're wanting to bring into our life, that we're working to bring into our life. I had a post on socials the other day that I popped up and it had in there, you in 2 years will be in a space where you of today would have only dreamed of being. And I popped that up and I said, I want to share this with everyone because this is a reality, right? There's times in your life that you've been wishing and hoping for something to have happened. And then when it happens, we don't always recognize it and celebrate it, kind of a little bit like the fur coat, right? It just happens and we get on with everyday life. And a friend of mine commented on that post and said, hey, this happened to me. And in his aspect, he had seen a couple of years ago this couple that were in a camper van and were just moving from place to place and just unpacking and just living their day. And every night they could just decide wherever they wanted to go. And he thought to himself, that would be so freeing. To be able to just wake up and be wherever I want to be. When I go to bed, I can choose wherever I want to choose on where I'm going to wake up. And without realizing, kind of created that in a manifestation. Now, he sent me a photo of the back of his van. He just goes, "This is where I'm living right now," on the back of his car. And there's a mattress in it. And I didn't go into depth with this friend of mine, but I'm assuming probably doesn't have a house or a dwelling to live in at the moment. So he's living out of his car. Now, majority of us would actually see that as a real negative, as something that's impacted our life because it doesn't fit the box, right? We're all meant to live in a house, have a bedroom, have a bed, have that consistency, have that space. And he said, "You just made me realize today that this is what I had dreamed of years ago, of having the freedom to wake up wherever I chose to wake up." And so things around us can sort of shift and have to shift to be able to get us to the vibration or get us in the circumstances we need to be in to be able to attract the things that we're hoping to wish for. Now, part of my existence is I come up with a lot of affirmations that I tend to say from time to time, a few mantras, things like that, because words are important, like words are things. The words that we tell ourselves create the pictures in our head, which then creates our emotions and the frequencies that we emit. And we'll go into a bit more depth on that in another episode. But I would often say, "Help me become, believe, perceive all of the things I need to do to get to this particular goal." And I would say that over and over and over again. And at the time, I was had a small young family, was married, day job, all of the things. And over time since then, I left my job, started my own business, moved a bit more seriously into some study. My marriage broke down, and my marriage ended in the end of that. And I had all of that needed to happen for me to be able to get to the frequency I need to get to attract this in. Now, has it happened, the thing that I was manifesting? Not yet, but I can feel that I'm getting closer and closer to that. Now, the job that I was in was a fantastic job with great people. It was a great organization, amazing pay structure. Like I was really abundant in the financial wealth aspect, but it took a lot of my time and energy. And it was a high pressure job that I was always having to show up for, needed to travel for, wasn't able to be at home as much as I would like. At one point, I was working right up until 11 o'clock at night, getting up back in there at 7, getting home, working all night again, trying to get on top of things and keep the job going. So it really consumed a lot of me. And then, as you can imagine, when I'd finished, I was spent. I didn't have the energy to be able to go into a space where I was following my passions and my level of excitement, right? And so also with the marriage that I was in, my husband at the time, we were very different on the way that we perceived the world. Um, I'm not even a glass half empty or full. I'm like, let's keep refilling the glass if it doesn't work. He was very much, he would call himself a realist. So often would pick things apart that I was doing and find the things that weren't great about me, and was never doing it in a malicious way. He told me, he said it was about keeping me real, so that I didn't overinflate ego and things like that, which I can appreciate. Some people feel they need to do that. But that also kept my vibration quite low, right? It didn't allow me to expand into the vibration space that I needed to be to achieve this dream that I want to achieve this manifestation I've set out to achieve. And so my marriage ending, although that was completely heartbreaking, created a heap of unwanted, unplanned change, moving house, losing friend groups, losing family members as well, because I was very close to his family. I considered them my own. And so like the first Christmas catch up that they had that my daughter went to, obviously, and I didn't. I could feel emotion coming up to now. That was very upsetting for me. And so when things happen that are removed from your life, it can create a huge empty void. And unfortunately, as humans, that's what we tend to focus on, right? We tend to focus on the empty void instead of looking at it from a different perspective, not looking at it from in the box of how it should be, and looking at it from, okay, okay, this could give me now endless possibilities. I mean, not long after I moved into this house, I had a friend message me and she was going down the shops. And she's like, I'm driving past your house. I'm going down to Kmart. Would love your advice on some things I need to purchase. Can I come and pick you up? And my first thought was, oh, I'm in the middle of cooking dinner. We're just cooking toasties with my daughter. And I looked at it and I'm like, I don't have to keep cooking these toasties. There's no one that I'm going to upset now from stopping and going and just doing whatever I want, right? And so I was like, yeah, sure, come pick me up. And so I was able to follow my level of excitement, something that excited me. Whereas I felt like and not everyone's marriage is like this, but in my marriage, I felt like a lot of what I did was to ensure the emotional stability in our home, right? I made choices that were not always what I wanted to do, but what I thought was the best for the home, not wanting to upset different people, meeting others' expectations, those sorts of things. That's all been stripped away from me now. And I have a lot of freedom. So if you're looking at your life and you're looking to try and do some things and manifest some things and create some difference in your life, be careful what you wish for. If you have big, hairy, audacious goals like me, then sometimes there's going to be things that need to shift to allow you to vibrate at the same level as what you're going to want to bring in. And if that happens, yes, you're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to feel all the emotions of rejection, loss, everything like that. But also, we need to come back into ourselves and look at it and go, wow, that was a real blessing. Like my friend that's living in his car at the moment. Wow, I get to now wake up wherever I choose to wake up. So everything is really in perspective of how you want to see it. And it goes back again to those words, right? It's all about the stories and the pictures that you put in your head. And I don't want to take away from the pain of really traumatic things that happen in life. I've been there. I've had a few happen myself. And at the time, it really is quite overwhelming as you process them because, again, cover it more in a different podcast, but your emotions have energy attached to them. And anyone that's sad feels heavy and slumpy, right? And there's heavier emotions and there's lighter emotions. And when we're in those heavy emotions, when they're surrounding us and they're in our energy body and they're in our energy field, it can be sometimes hard to see past them. It's like putting, a film over your glasses. It's hard to see anything other than looking through that film. So it taints the way we view things. But once you've had an opportunity to process those emotions and give them the space they need to be given and then let them go from your energy field, then we're able to look at it and go, okay, well, hang on, where has this now positioned me? Now, this can be difficult for people as well, because if you're in a space of traditionally needing to grieve, again, we're looking at that box. Sometimes we can feel guilty if we're not grieving, if we're actually finding things to be a positive or we're looking at those sorts of things, because that's not how we're meant to be thinking. But our perception is everything. You don't have to discount all of the trauma and the pain that you've had to be able to see that there are benefits that lie within and in front of you. And so if there's something you're looking to manifest, just a quick summary, what I suggest you do is sit down and really create a written statement. I'm going to feel so excited when I achieve whatever in the time frame you're going to set. It is going to bring me so much joy when I am doing something and in something time. Okay, set some parameters and make it about how you're feeling, what it's giving you. What I would recommend against is going, I wish or I want, right? If you're writing something down, don't put them. Write it as if it's happened. Write it specifically. Give yourself something visual, right? Get yourself some sort of board, put up on the board lots of those different pictures. You know, I did this many moons ago, made up a bit of a vision board and I put up lots of pictures and I wanted to do some more travel. So I put a plane there and I think I had the Taj Mahal there and I wanted to graduate. So I put graduate there and I put some money, stack of money there and some happiness. some emojis that were happy and those sorts of things on there. And I haven't done a lot of travel, but one place I've traveled to was India after that, and I saw the Taj Mahal. Money isn't at the moment, isn't one of my high level of abundance with being a full-time student, a solo parent, a mortgage, cost of living crisis. I'm not alone, right? There's lots of other people, but I have enough. And I have been able to get money sources that have been able to now sustain me to allow me to follow those levels of passion that I have, to allow me to be in my place of excitement. Since I did that poster, yes, my marriage might have ended. Yes, I might have had to have moved. I've probably had some other relationships that have kind of fallen away, but I'm generally really happy. Like I do have some low moods from time to time as I go through different stuff that's thrown at me from healing, but I can generally pull out of that pretty quickly. And my emotions vibrate at quite a high level. I had a graduation cap on there, and not only did I graduate from my uni degree at the time, my psych degree that I was looking to, but I've also now done a master's and I'm looking at doing a PhD. So even if you feel silly doing it, get yourself a picture board, put the pictures on there of what you want and put it somewhere that you can look at quite frequently. And then the last thing is the visualization. Feel it. Really, truly feel what it feels like to be having what you're trying to manifest. And when you're visualizing it, feel it, also think it. What would you be thinking at that point into time if you had that? Would you be thinking that you're grateful? Would you be thinking that you can help more people? Would you be thinking that you've got the inner worthiness that you know is there, but sometimes you doubt? What are the thoughts that you would be thinking? The words and pictures you would be telling yourself? What are the emotions that would be going through your body? What would the environment be doing? Would it be hot to touch, cold to touch? How would it feel on your skin? What would it look like? All of those sorts of things. And if you can do those three things while also following your highest level of excitement in everything you choose to do, then I guarantee your manifestations are going to come in. The universe or God, whatever you believe in, will listen to you and will bring them to you. I'm someone who I feel is very divinely protected and guided, and I'm rewarded for that in so many ways. And sometimes it's just as simple as a little bird that lands on my fence when I'm out doing gardening and just sits there and looks at me. And I'm just like, wow, I got to experience that. That brings me joy. So sometimes it might not be something big and huge, but it's those little things that we look at and we can recognize and go, okay, I'm on the way. I'm where I'm meant to be. So I hope that was helpful. It was just a different perspective on manifesting, bringing in the things that you want to bring in, and having the ability to let go of the things that are no longer serving you. I mean, you don't have to let them go. You can fight to keep them, but that is just going to conflict with what you're trying to manifest or what you're trying to bring into your life. And unfortunately, it's going to either take a lot longer or it's possibly never going to happen. And so this is what sometimes does happen with people that do manifest. Excuse me, when they manifest or trying to manifest something, they refuse to let go of the things that need to be let go of and then complain that their manifestations never come in, or that they're unlucky or bad things always happen because they're not actually embracing and looking at those things as the pathway as well. So happy manifesting. I'm really excited to hear from any listeners who want to share with me some successful manifesting that they've done in their life. And if you follow those three simple rules, well, four, because let go of the things that no longer serving you, and guarantee you will be drawing in all of the abundance and all of the wonderful things that you're trying to manifest into your life. So thank you for listening to this episode, and I look forward to serving you again in our next episode.